the pedal board is done. Or more accurately, the pedal board is done for now until I find a reason to change something. A reason to change something when it's me involved is usually because I need it to do something rather than I want to fiddle with stuff because I'm kind of a bit bored of fiddling, but I do want to do music. And the reason this pedal board is quite excessive is the project I'm working on at the moment doesn't have much in it other than a bass and vocals and drums. There will be layers of vocals, but there will not be multi-tracked bass, probably, in the sense of multiple bass lines at once. It will be recorded across multiple tracks, so I can adjust stuff, you know, levels wise. You know, probably have 3 or 4 tracks of bass, probably dry, affected, and probably 1 speaker mic'd, so that I can change things tonally. But other than that, it's been treated as a playing bass with live with the drums and trying to get it to sound right. So this is the reason things have got a bit out of control. The board I did wave around on a video a while back before I got it wired up, so this has all been done with pedal patch cables, which are really very satisfying because they come with a neat little cutter. You get a reel of cable and different plugs, and there's DC cables and also the signal cables. What I would recommend if you are doing this, get a voltmeter, you know, with a continuity tester, and each time you do a cable, check it. Because sometimes, not very often, sometimes they don't work, and if you do the whole lot assuming it'll all work, it then doesn't, and you don't know which of the links is the bad link. But if you do that, good lord, it's so much quicker than soldering. You probably already know this if you've put together a pedal board recently, and it's also, unless you've got one of those pedal boards where it hides all the cables underneath, this is so much neater than having cables that are all sort of different lengths. I mean, it still looks like quite a... Well, there's a lot of cables there. The cables are not as tidy as they would be if I had had the common sense when buying a pedal power unit to think, what if the pedal board gets bigger? What if I end up with more pedals? So I have an 8 unit power supply here, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pedals. I didn't realise there were 13. Yeah, but they're not really all pedals. I mean, this is a switchy boxy thingy that Luke here, LV Labs, as he also has, made for me, which is rather neat. So we've got 3 loops in series that I can turn on or off. It needs a bit of tweakery for the next iteration to make it a little more ergonomic for the tap dancing that's involved. Got a tuner over there. Apparently these are the best tracking, quickest pedal board based tuners out there. It's really good. I was initially very confused by how it works. It has this sort of spinny thing, but actually I've got used to it very quickly, so that's quite satisfying. And then this other thing, little looper, that's not really, so that's a phrase looper, loop sampler, you know, that's not really intended for performance or gigging, but is very handy when writing or jamming, or particularly what I've been doing a lot of recently is saying to my singer, I've written this, it goes like this, and then showing that I can't sing the vocal melody, however badly, over the bass line I've written. It's all just too difficult, so I can just play the bass part into this, loop it, and then demonstrate how badly I can sing over my own material. Other things here, yes, so just quickly, that's a polyphonic octaver, reverb, tremolo, phaser, chorus / flanger, dirt pedal, squelchy envelope filter, dirt. Lots of dirt pedals, especially when you consider each of these is kind of a 3-in-1 dirt pedal, because you can have distortion, you can have fuzz, or both. So that really is 3 sounds, plus you can knock out the clean as well. So depending on how you've got it set up, you can, depending on how you've got them tweaked, taking out the clean can take out the lows, or it can, bringing the clean in can boost the lows. You've got quite a few different ways of working them. It's a fairly deep pedal. So what I thought I'd do is, best way to demonstrate this is some of the material I've been writing. I'm not going to play you whole songs, you don't want that, especially without a singer or drums or anything finished. But yeah, so this riff, we're starting as Machinist, got the clean blend on, We've got the fuzz with mid boost about halfway up, treble tilted towards the tone, tilted towards the high end. The fuzz not turned up that much, so it's not that fuzzy. We've also got the distortion on, gain's about halfway on that. This is quite a hot bass, unsurprisingly, being a Stingray. But it's not as loud as you'd think. The Watt Plower, which is passive, is louder. And then we've got the lows boosted and the treble at 12 o'clock. And it sounds like, well, and then what I'll do, I'll start this riff and then move into another riff where I take out the fuzz and then try to remember where it goes after that. Then there's another, then this is not a full drive 2. This is the original bass drive, full tone bass drive. So it just had a sticker on it that said bass drive, and someone who works here, I don't know who, quite annoyed about it, removed the sticker. So it says full drive 2, but it's not. It's actually a bass drive. It's an early bass drive. It hasn't got the original knobs because we lost one. Well, no, someone else I lent the pedal to lost it. I didn't have a matching one, so it's got some, they're the white machinist option knobs. These are the two of the machinist option knobs, and this is third sort, and there's a fourth sort you can have as well. So this goes like this. Oh, sound-wise, don't expect this to sound pretty at all. Reason is, as I'm going through this big Twin 3, I have the high frequency control all the way up, which most people would not do. The reason for that is that I'm in a context where there are no keys, there's no guitar, there's no other high frequency instruments, there's just me and a female vocal, so there is a lot of space to fill. So I'm going for these quite gnarly, distinctly unpretty sounds, and treating that as that was what I do in the live environment. But I will then, for recording, I will mic one of the 12XNs, I'll have a clean DI and an effects DI, and then on parts where it's sounding too harsh with the DI sound, which the DI sound is extremely similar to what the cab sounds like on its own, then I can use the 12XN sound on one of those tracks to, you know, skew towards that to filter out the harshness. Anyway, I think that's everything. Oh yeah, so I also will show you how I'm cascading stuff. So just to explain the groupings, stomp box 1, button 1 here gets Pog and that machinist. Button 2 gets bass drive, envelope, and this machinist. And button 3 gets subspace, bass chorus deluxe, grand orbiter, hummingbird, and reverb, and the ditto and the strobo stomp after, because they're not relevant. And everything on this board is either a true bypass or near as damn it. These technically aren't true bypass, but they're so high input impedance they don't affect things, and I think everything else is an actual true bypass. Some of them are relayed and some aren't, so you know, these have got the magic switches which are latch or don't latch depending on how you do them. I think this might be like that. Oh no, that one isn't, but that's a relayed switch as well. I'm learning it. I've spent a lot of time in recent years playing acoustic bass guitar, so not only have I not had pedals, I haven't even been plugging in. So, where was I? Here we go. Better turn the sound on. So, it's that one. Completely forgotten how to do this. Here we are, that's a false start. We'll leave it in for authenticity. It's not going to go like that. There. And then I kick those off and go into another section. So this is the Stingray on its own. I'm getting red light fever and forgetting how to play. And then I've got a section where I bring this one on, having already taken this off. And then come back with just the fuzz on here. So we've got an overdrive into a fuzz, falling over on one foot. Then to take it up another level, so I'll do it in situ. Tell you what, doing this and thinking about what to say and thinking about what you've got to stamp on and playing bass, it's really quite difficult, but you know, here we are, authentic, unedited, because I can't be bothered, and you know, I think you guys can live with it. I'm not wasting that much of your time. So let's do another one. So that's all different ways of doing dirt. Now I'm going to go on to the other machinist for this other song, where I'm pedaling an open E on this, so I need a less thick sound, so it's just going to get muddy. And I'm starting with, again with both on, but we've got the fuzz and the distortion, and it goes something like this, if I can remember it rightly. Really forgetting how to play these. No, that's not it. What happens next? Oh yeah, I remember now. So I think we then go to... oh, I can't remember. But then the next section is definitely this. So this is the fuzz on its own. So you'll notice that the fuzz is a lot quieter on there, so that's a sort of conscious decision to make it sound more like there's a bass guitar on its own and a guitar sort of fuzzing over the top. You know, it's not, I'm not using an octave up there. I've yet to really dig into the POG. That's going to take some more time. Octave down makes sense. It does a lot of really complicated stuff. And also, the digitally nature of the POG can, well, it shows up much more through this than it would if you're running it through a traditional bass rig or a guitar amp or something like that, like a lot of people do. So yeah, the POG's going to take a bit more fine tuning, and as a studio device there may be a bit more work done afterwards. I think live, you know, things are going to get lost in the mix live. I think people, you want to get the right vibe live, you know, the sound absolutely matters, but the sound matters in a vibe sense, and it can sound more aggro live. I think albums generally need to sound a bit nicer, you know, even music that's not meant to be nice. And you want the nasty stuff to be in there. You want the gnarly, you know, those sort of sounds, but you don't want them all the time. Otherwise, it just gets a bit wearing to listen to. You know, even really heavy stuff. So this isn't going to be really heavy. It's just sort of, well, it's a bit dark, it's a bit heavy, but it's certainly not, you know, I don't think it's metal. Who cares? It is what it is. And then I think I'm hopping over to this trusty. I know. I think I'm also in this. Oh, I can't remember now. But I think I go over to the. Oh, I know what it is. This is quite a fun pairing. So this is overdrive into fuzz. fun riff that, isn't it? 15 minutes. I think that's enough, and that's all been dirty stuff. Let us stop there. I'll be back at some point with another one of these noisemakery sort of things. Thank you. I've been Alex from Bareface. That's a cool cab. That's a cool pedal. This is all lots of fun. Rock on.